The solar industry has plenty of dirty secrets that we don't often hear about, probably because it's heavily subsidized by the government. We need only look to Germany to see that their green energy project, Energy Wind, requires billions in subsidies to even exist, though. The government doesn't want us to know that the solar industry they fund with billions in taxpayer money isn't all it's stacked up to be when it comes to being green. How else would they be able to continue to use climate change and green schemes to virtue signal and get more votes and more money out of our pockets, right? And by dirty secrets, I'm talking about solar panels that contain lead, chromium, and cadmium and require harsh chemicals like sodium hydroxide and hydrofluoric acid to be produced. A lot of these components are considered to be toxic waste, according to a report completed by Environmental Progress. And it's becoming more clear that we have a looming problem. How do we recycle these toxic panels? As that same report suggests, Japan has a warning for us. In that country, there has been a large demand for the panels, mostly due to the government providing what's called a feed-in tariff in 2012 that incentivizes energy coming from renewable sources. Sound familiar? We have the same scenario starting to crop up across North America. But Japan predicts that by 2020, solar panel waste will reach 10,000 tons, which one company, Toshiba Environmental Solutions, says would take 19 years to get through, based on their current capacity to recycle only 44 tons of solar panels per month. And that's nothing compared to the approximated peak of 810,000 tons of panels to deal with between around 2034 and 39. What's more is that there's no real profit in recycling solar panels, and there's low demand for the dismantled usable materials. Plus, the labor required is expensive, so this reasoning makes it difficult to justify getting into the business of recycling solar panels. Now, most of these panels are good for about 20 to 30 years, and installing them residentially is a relatively new process that regular households in North America have already gone through with or are just thinking about. But what's not being thought about is how to mitigate the toxic landslide that's about to be upon us once these panels start to conk out. So are solar panels really all that green? They use harsh chemicals and result in toxic waste once they no longer function, require water and electricity that's usually generated using fossil fuels to be produced, and there's really no viable programs in place to mass recycle them. So this is kind of like the electric car debate. They also require toxic chemicals to be produced and are typically powered by fossil fuels. That electricity to power them has to come from somewhere after all. So no, I don't think these apparently green solutions are very green at all. And because it's an industry highly subsidized and promoted by governments, we can't really expect them to tell us about that either. That being said, we shouldn't be against viable ways to clean up real pollution that don't require taxpayer funds or demonizing the oil and gas industry to get ahead, but we should definitely be skeptical of these green sources that a government uses to promote their own agenda, because it seems there's always another side to that story. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching. Speaking of the other side of the story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the content that you just won't find anywhere else.